My current occupation, I'm a freelance writer, so that basically means that I'm self-employed. So at present, I'm working for no company in particular. I'm just selling my work to various publications. I'm primarily freelance writing for the web. I haven't yet broken into print, but I'm working my way to that. Basically, I write about anything that's related to lifestyle, so that includes fashion, the environment, I profile people, things like that. So a typical day for me really varies. I work through the weekends, evenings, nights. You know, a lot of the times if I'm not writing, I'm researching for an article that I will be writing or researching for potential articles, ideas that I could pitch to editors, and also keeping up with emails and correspondences and things like that. I think that I realized I wanted to pursue a career as a writer from a very early age. Actually, when I was in the 2nd grade, I wrote a little short story, just for the heck of it, about a miniature lion and her adventures. It's pretty good. And I remember showing my teacher it and everything like that, and my family, they got all excited about it. So I always loved writing, and I think I kind of just grew up with that in mind. When I got to high school, you know, grade 11, making a decision about university, my plan was actually to go to Mac, graduate in political science. I knew I wanted to do that for sure. Peace studies came after my first year. And after that, I actually wanted to do a grad program at Ryerson. Was my top pick for my master's in journalism. I never got in, but that's okay because I'm still writing. So I think I realized after that, you know what, I can still pursue this career without being formally trained in it. And that's what I'm doing now. The transferable skills I think I took from my humanities degree are many. I mean, writing and I think self-editing is pretty obvious, as well as researching. I think the biggest thing was critical thinking and being able to think outside of the box. You know, one thing you learn in humanities throughout your X amount of years of study is that there is no set formula. A plus B doesn't always equal C. Sometimes A plus B plus C equals X, Y, and W, you know, and it kind of teaches you to get out of that box, you know, be creative. In terms of extracurriculars, I definitely think my involvement in the SIL was paramount to what I'm doing now. Aside from my grade 11 co-op, I volunteered for half a semester in my 2nd year, and then a position for an editor opened up, a section editor for Inside Out, which is the lifestyle section of the newspaper. And I applied for it, and I applied for the assistant editor position, and I got hired on as the senior Inside Out editor. I took it because why wouldn't I? It was a lot of pressure, but you know what? The staff there, they were really helpful. They helped me grow into the role, and then I kept with that same position the following year. So I had 2 years as McMaster Silhouette's senior Inside Out editor. And to be honest, aside from that, I wasn't too heavily involved in school, which is probably one of my biggest regrets. You know, there's so much that McMaster offers and there's something for everyone. I wish I dedicated more of my time to doing those extracurricular activities. But definitely in terms of the Silhouette volunteering and then actually working for them, that was paramount. So really for me, peace studies and political science, it's not necessarily directly related to what I'm doing now, but going back to what I said before, you know, it teaches you to think outside of the box and get creative with not just what you're studying in school and what you're writing about while in school, but what you're going to be doing afterwards. So really the possibilities are endless. Especially in terms of peace studies, the program is still relatively new when compared to other programs such as poli-sci. And I think in that regard, you know, a lot of the classes that I took, you know, in university as related to peace studies kind of gave you that general area in which you could just kind of go whichever way you want. And that's a great thing about humanities, you know, it keeps it open for you, you know. Well, the major difference I find between being a freelance writer and working as a staff writer, let's say, for a publication, is that, you know, you do get to make your own schedule and write, you know, for whoever you want, as long as they'll take your work, of course, when you want. I mean, there are benefits, though, too, to being a staff writer. I mean, more steady schedule. With freelance writing, you don't have that necessarily all the time. You have your weeks when you're really busy and overwhelmed, and then other weeks where you feel like you have nothing to do. So as an undergrad preparing for this career, I think the biggest resource available to undergrads here at McMaster is McMaster. I mean, I know there's a lot of attachment to the online world, and that's good too, but in order to build a name for yourself, you kind of need to start with the people that are in front of you. And McMaster, like I said earlier, has so many great clubs, programs available to students, and it's your time. You're not just here to study hard, go to class, and get good grades. It's so much more than that, and really your time here is so short, so take full advantage of it. Get to know people, because that is in itself a networking opportunity, and you may not be realizing it at the time because it seems so social, but it really is. And if you build that up, then when you go online to promote yourself via social media, for example, you'll have that following already. Job search strategies that I found useful, not so much, applying to jobs online. That almost becomes a waste of time and energy if you dedicate too much time to that. And what I mean by that is that you're a faceless thing sending off your resume, and you could be one of hundreds or one of thousands of people doing the exact same thing. And I think it's important to get your name out there by getting your face out there. And in order to do that, you need to get involved with your community, not just Hamilton, but your hometown as well. See if there's any groups as related to your general interest area. Chances are there will be many at that. I know Hamilton has quite a few. And again, you could do all that preliminary research online and then just get yourself out there, meet people. And the great thing about going to networking events is that you meet people who are in your exact same position, and you meet people who have way more experience than you do. And when meeting those people, don't be afraid to ask them for advice. They're more than likely willing to give you 5 minutes of their time, if not more than that. If you're meeting people in your exact same position, see where they're at, see how they're doing it, how are they getting along with this working world. My advice for current and prospective students is to get out of the mindset that success equals money, because in truth it doesn't. And if you're solely focused on that, you will never find anything that makes you happy. Success is real happiness. And how do you measure that? For me, it's how confident I feel when I'm telling others about the things that I'm doing. Do I feel proud to tell someone I'm doing this? If I don't, then there's probably something wrong there. If I do, then great. And what I'm doing right now, I feel more than proud to tell people. Now, this doesn't mean I boast about it. By no means do I. You have to keep a certain degree of modesty too in what you do. But absolutely, look for that thing that you're good at, perhaps not so good at, but guess what, you can get there. And yeah, look for that. And another thing too, don't put all your eggs into one basket. I see it all the time. It happened with me, coming out of school. I thought, what, this is my plan A and this is my only plan because it's gonna work. Life does not work according to plan most of the time anyways. Have a plan in place, but don't let it be so rigid that you can't veer off in other directions, because then you'll never be happy, right? Another piece of advice I can give is to work hard, but to know when to slow down and relax and take some time for you. In order to keep up with the amount of work you have to be well, both mentally and emotionally. So that means taking a step back every now and again and just relaxing.